What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Super Gamer Boys. I am your host and colonel and dad, Garrett Morlang, and here in the virtual studio with me is the heavyweight podcasting champion of the world, JJ Purdom.
Right on. Thank you so very much. I would have preferred to also be called the king of all video games in the absence of Adrian.
Okay.
Because he's not here, so I should just take all the nicknames.
Is that how that works? So
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay, so you're just kind of like subbing for him right tonight. So you are the king of video games and Resident Evil superstar and heavyweight podcasting. That's a lot. That's too many titles, I think. That's a little cumbersome.
And I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think we're gonna have to agree to disagree.
All
I
right.
feel like I could always take on more.
I don't know. Could you?
No.
Can you handle that the weight of all that, the responsibility?
No, I'm the one who like every couple of weeks tells you like, yeah, I can't record tonight. So like, no, I can't handle the responsibility. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So, and look at Adrian taking a break, taking a time out.
Well, so here's the thing, though. It's not just a break. He's cheating on us.
You don't say.
It's that bad. Even you've never done that.
No.
You've just not shown up, but you've never cheated on us.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, from what I understand, at least the last text I received from him is some friends, which I will go ahead and name their names because we love them very dearly. But he said, Patrick needed help. And I'm just going to assume he meant Patrick Ellers from Nintendo Cartridge Society. So keep a lookout on their feed if you want to see some Adrian. If you really just absolutely hate me and JJ, just check out Nintendo Cartridge Society, and Adrian will probably be over there this week, unless I was misuninformed on that. But
you gotta go get your Adrian fix. You go ahead and tune in over there.
That's what I understood, anyways. But yeah, he is out subbing for them. They were in a pinch. They needed Patrick needed an extra host, so just me and JJ, the original crew.
Twosome. Yeah, I love
this
it.
Is like Super Gamer Boys Classic here or something.
Man, we're gonna have all kinds of bits planned for a little bit later where we're making fun of your mom. No, we were doing that last week, so it's not like we don't have to have Adrian around to do that, to totally mercilessly beat you up and like do mom jokes and stuff like that.
Man, I was hoping you would, feel a little more like, oh yeah, no, that's a me and Adrian thing. So you have to, but if you, I think that's the way to go. I think that's
no
better.
holds barred. You're like, in fact, your mom and dad are out of the country right now. So like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's like carte blanche for me to do or say or possibly even think anything at this moment right now.
I mean, they still listen to the show, so not anything.
Well, okay, sure, that's true.
How's your week been, JJ?
Change the subject quick, JJ.
I feel like we haven't been able to catch up in a while. When it's three of us, it's hard to like get the temperature on everyone, because it's like, one person tells their story and then it's like, okay, let's get on with the show. But it's just you and me. How's your week been? How you doing?
Well, weather is kind of goofy here in Nebraska, as you probably can imagine. We have some crazy stuff called wind. And so when I say wind, you and I think California wind, where it's like, oh man, it gusted like crazy today. It was like 15 to 20 miles per hour gust. It was, whew, I was getting dirt in my eye. Here, they're like 80 or 100, and like windows are getting busted out, and it's just insane. It's June, and it rained yesterday. So I don't know what's going on with the weather. And I was like, okay, maybe this is just normal, and like the Nebraskans are used to that. So I've asked a few of them, because they have like a Nebraska meeting. So I just had there's only 7 of us in the whole state. So I was like, hey, is this normal, guys? And they're like, no, it's not. So that's not good.
Oh, so they're all confused too. That's not good. That might be a sign of the end of the world, is what that is. Then.
Well, some people do say, like, they're like, oh, it's Nebraska. You can get some of that. Did you know Larry the Cable Guy is from here? I said, yes, I'm fully aware that he's from here.
Is he really from there?
Yeah, he's from Nebraska. So he's actually, the accent's fake. I don't know if you know that. But
yeah, I assume
okay,
so.
So he's from here. He's from a little town not too far away from where I'm at. So
okay. Crazy. I don't know why for some reason I just assumed he was from like, he seems like someone who'd be from Florida or something. Like that's or
probably now. There's a lot of the Larry the Cable guys living in Florida now. All of the craziest news comes from Germany or Florida. You know, like anything where somebody's having sex with an alligator, it's either Germany or it's Florida.
I was on Reddit the other day, and I forget what page it was on, but there's this video of this lady was driving through this intersection, and someone like hits her, like T-bones her, like hits the tail end of her car. She kind of like swerves a little bit. She gets control, pulls over, stops. She gets out of the car real quick and runs over to like check on the person that just hit her. And all of a sudden that car like started to like take off. It was like gone. And she like jumps in front of the car. She's like, no, you are not hitting and running. Like, I'm going to hold you here. She gets on the hood of the car. The car starts driving a little bit and then stops. Finally, she gets off. She runs back to her car to get her phone, I think, to probably call 911 or something, and the car takes off. She has a dash camera, so she like, you can see the whole thing. She slams it in gear. She takes off. It's full like high speed pursuit between. It's like this old lady, like these two old ladies, like chasing each other through the streets of Florida somewhere. And it was like the most bizarre thing. And finally, she literally like full on like police technique, like bumps, leads the lady into a parking lot, a small enclosed parking lot, and then like bumps her fender, gets her to spin out and pins her against the wall, like full on like demolition derby style. She gets out of the car, runs over to the car, rips the door open, grabs the keys out of the lady's ignition, and then runs away, like to keep the lady from driving away again. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is insane. And all the comments are just like, is this normal in Florida? Like, is this what you do? Whatever. Like, obviously everyone's just joking around. It's just like, oh yep, of course it's Florida. That makes sense. But this lady like took the law in her own hands. She's like, you're not going to hit and run me.
Wow. That's some vigilante justice. You got to love that stuff, man.
Oh, man, it was insane.
That's awesome.
But in the end, I was just like, okay, like you did all that, but at what cost? Because now it went from like, oh, it was a hit and run and you could have just got their license plate off your dash cam to, oh, now it's a hit and run. But you also like chased this person, endangered so many other people on the road. Like you're in just as much, if not more trouble than the other person. So,
smash cut to her being in jail for like, 3 to 6 months.
Oh my gosh. I was like, what a bizarre thing.
Despite all of the slams of an actual state and the way that the whole state and another country enacts, we are actually a video game podcast. We are the Super Gamer Boys. You guys are joining us here this week. It's just Garrett and myself. Adrian took a hike. If you're just joining us on Twitch, he's decided that he doesn't like us anymore. It's mostly due to his dislike of Garrett.
That's actually probably the reality. He wanted to let me down softly by saying he's helping a friend, but I'm sure next week the resignation comes, and then the week after that, he's a permanent host on Nintendo Cartridge Society is how I see it happening. But that's what it is. He's never really liked me. It's always been a kind of a behind the scenes thing. But now that you mention it live on the show, his beef between me and Adrian. He just don't know what it is. He just doesn't
which
like
is
me.
crazy about
I think
the
it's
beef,
the mustache. It's something with the mustache.
He did tell me you had a rat face one time, and I mean that was off air and private conversation. I probably shouldn't have shared that. Sorry about that.
It's he has a phobia of facial hair. That's the big thing. He's okay with you having it though, because you're old. Like, and old people.
Yeah, it's to cover up all the wrinkles.
Right.
No, it makes sense.
He also has a phobia of wrinkly faces. So it's dual-edged sword there. Other than that, we are a video game podcast. We will be talking about PlayStation State of Play this last week, Samoa Joe getting cast in Twisted Metal, and Pokemon Scarlet and my notes here just deleted. Scarlet and Violet getting a new trailer and the release date when it's coming out. So we're going to talk more about that later. First, let's give a quick shout out to our Patreon producers. We have Ka Jr., Bleep Bloop, and Eddie Martin, and our Super Gamer sponsors, Julie Bates, and Mama Mare. If you want to be awesome just like those folks, head over to patreon.com/supergamerboys, where you can support us starting at just $1 a month. And that gets you episodes early and ad-free, such as episodes from this show, as well as episodes from our Super Gamer Book Club, which is hosted, or was hosted, by Adrian. We'll see if he's left us. I mean, maybe you'll have to take it over.
I can't read.
Oh, you don't have to read, but you do have to play video games, so that kind of disqualifies
I can do that
you as well.
Yeah,
so,
no, I can do that.
I mean, can you? You have to beat a game a month. It's hard. I can barely keep up. I can barely keep up. There's times it comes down to the wire for me, I'll tell you what.
I could always BS and pretend that I played the video games that we're talking about on the book club. Not like I haven't done that before.
Not like you haven't done that before. What wasn't it like?
Dead Space.
It was Dead Space. It was.
We did Dead Space.
That was the last one we did with Zetch before. Rest in peace, Zetch. He left us, and he at the end. You told me that. Everyone else jumped off the call, and you're like, dude, like, I didn't finish that game. I'm like, really? Because the way you were talking about it was extremely convincing. So behind the curtain, you can only get that episode if you support us on Patreon. That whole first season hosted by Zach, you can get by supporting us, as well as current episodes hosted by Adrian. You get those as they come out at the end of each month. Otherwise, you got to wait 2 months to get the episodes. But yeah,
there are some listeners that love that episode that are like, oh my gosh, you mean JJ never actually finished that game? He didn't really?
Yeah, it blew my mind when you told me that. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. We just record a whole episode and it's all a lie. It's a lie. We're lying to these people.
I look, half BS'd, and then there was a good amount of synopsis reading right before recording. Okay. Busy life, man. At the time I was running a business.
Well, what's funny is, I mean, I had beaten it back in the day, but I also didn't beat it that time, remember? Because I was playing on PC through Steam, and there was
you were struggling to answer some of the questions.
Yeah.
And that's why you were like, how did you know so? I'm like, I didn't. I just
I was planning on beating it, and then my save corrupted. And I was just like,
and you didn't want to go back and have to do everything again.
I didn't have enough time to do, even if I wanted to. It was like a couple days before, because it's not a super long game. But yeah, I got to the point. I'm like, I guess what I played is what I get. Like, that's it. I was like, all right. And yeah, it had been so long since I played it before. There was a couple times like I was struggling to come up with something because it was 10 years ago more when I played this. But going back to the current Super Gamer Book Club. The new episode right now is Super Mario World. That's right, the Super Nintendo Classic with Patrick Ellers and I don't have his last name. Mark. Patrick and Mark from Nintendo Cartridge Society. We'll say that. The free episode. So if you can't support us or you're on the fence thinking about, do I want to? Like, is the book club worth it? It 100% is, but if you don't want to take my word for it, you can get it for free on any podcast feed and on our YouTube channel. But if you go to your podcast service, do a search of Super Gamer Book Club, you can get episodes from 2 prior. So right now, the free one out is Streets of Rage 4 with Eddie Martin. Fantastic episode. And if you do want to check that one out, I'd recommend even checking out the YouTube version because it has actual gameplay. We played it live while we were talking about it. So you can listen to us play it and talk about it, or watch us play it and talk about it. A lot of fun. This month, we did announce it is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII for PSP. That's going to be coming later this month. So get playing if you want to listen with us, play with us, and hear our thoughts on it. We'll talk more about that later. One last shout out to Jack Sriracha and Yate for allowing us to use their music on our show. We appreciate you so much for allowing us to do that. It's fantastic. I love it in the background. Unfortunately, JJ actually can't hear it. I can hear it a little bit, but it's edited into the show later on for you all to enjoy, kind of as a nice little buffer. That's what we enjoy, is like, we want our podcast to feel like, hey, we're all just buds hanging out and there's tunes on in the background. And I think this really helps kind of give a nice cohesiveness to the podcast, a little more chill, relaxed vibe. So thank you, Yate and Jack Sriracha, for allowing us to use that and making our podcast that much more just, enjoyable to listen to and relax to. All right. It's now time to check the mail.
All right, where's the bit that Adrian had? Did he? Because I didn't. You know, what I mean?
I just figured you'd have a bit,
thing.
but yeah, you're right. Adrian, he didn't leave a bit with you. I thought he was gonna leave a bit with you.
No, we always Adrian always does it. Well,
yeah, I know,
he's supposed to do it.
He always does it, but I just figured he'd leave it with you. He didn't leave it. He didn't leave you with a bit, huh?
No. So the guy literally just goes and does another show, and then he doesn't leave us a bit. What kind of a host are you, man?
Adrian. Oh, Adrian.
This is pathetic.
Man, to think that he would go not only cheat on us, but then leave us hanging here with the bit.
Mm-hmm.
Man, what a... I can't believe it. That's hard. It hurts. That cuts deep. But you know what? We're gonna be the bigger man here. We're just gonna move on, and you know, save our ideas for next week. You know what? Let's just move on. It's, you know what, Adrian, we forgive you. It's fine. You know. Do
we though? I don't know. I'm kind of a little. I'm a little hurt right now. You know, like I was expecting the bits have been getting pretty good lately. I feel like he's, you know, really coming into his own with this. I feel like you're letting everybody down, Adrian. You really are. And I love it, Adrian. I love that you're going to be listening to this thing and you're going to be like, oh man, they were just pounding me. They're like just hammering me. That's what we do when you're not at the show.
I know.
Somebody gets hammered.
When you're not here, you get destroyed. When I'm not here, I get destroyed. Adrian, this is just the first time it's happened to you. So you've never not been here. So I'm sorry. This is what happens. Give him
credit. He's always here. He's always been very consistent until now.
You know what I mean? Right. So when we needed him most to have a mailbag bet, he wasn't here.
Right. No, he was not.
Man. All right. Well, let's get into these questions. I just noticed I always forget about the Twitch chat. Sorry about you guys over there. Skylon says unforgivable, and then Yogurt Archangel says rest in peace, Adrian. Pouring out for our homie. All right.
So is Adrian now in the place that Zetch is in? Are they occupying the same realm?
Adrian's not dead. He's cheating on us. Remember? There's a difference. Zetch died. Adrian's just straight up cheating on us, and he told us about it.
Well,
he didn't even try to be sneaky about it.
I don't know if you're aware, but like I'm having dinner with dead Zetch like on Thursday, so you know that's like our week or our monthly date. You know, like we go out and we have. So I mean, and he looks fairly alive for the most. He is pale, like extremely pale. I will tell you that.
Yeah. I mean,
he's so white that he makes me feel like I have a lot of melanin. You know what I mean?
Now, I wonder if he's noticed. I don't know if you've noticed in the Discord. I renamed our bot that talks and does announcements to the Ghost of Zetch. Did you notice that the Ghost of Zetch has been fake banning? They've been fake banning people, and that's what does our announcements. So we just went live a little bit ago in the Discord. It says the Ghost of Zetch says, "Hey, the Super Gamer Boys are live. Go check them out."
Man, that's awesome.
So you'll have to tell him. I don't know if he's noticed, but you'll have to ask him. Like, hey, have you noticed?
I'll bring it up for sure.
Because we all know he's not listening to the show because he's dead. But you know,
yeah, they don't have Spotify and here wherever he's at.
No. All right. This first question comes from Paul Purdom from Facebook. Even we don't get a lot of questions from Facebook, but if you're on Facebook, follow us over there and write in on the comments. Do whatever you got to do. Get your questions over here. We appreciate it. He asked, the Gran Turismo movie, we talked about that last week, makes me want to ask, what was each of your first vehicle and what did you want to be your first vehicle when you were 16?
Okay, interesting question. So when I was 16, I had a Fiat, a small white Fiat, a little two-door car that my dad had in the backyard for a long time. And my idea was that I was going to get it fixed up and have a cool little sports car. Yeah, that never ended up happening. I never ended up getting that thing going. It just sat there and then eventually got towed off to the dump. My first vehicle was a red Mazda pickup truck, and I bought it from my older brother for $700. And I used it to go to and from work for a little while, working at a Motel 6. And yeah, it was great. It was a little 5-speed, really cool little truck, and I smoked a lot of weed in it. Like ungodly amounts of weed inside of that little truck. So.
Oh man. My dream vehicle was always a Subaru Impreza WRX. I always loved those little so my connection to it was through Gran Turismo and doing like the rally races and stuff, getting the WRX STI, doing the Pikes Peak races, stuff like that. Like, so dirt rally races. I was like, oh man, it'd be such a sick car to have. I always loved like the Subaru blue, like the wing on the back. Such a cool car. My actual first car was actually pretty nice. I was surprised. It was a gift from a family member.
Please be a station wagon. God, please be a station wagon. Oh, you go ahead.
It was a Ford Explorer Sport Track. So not the SUV, but I had it was like the truck. It was the SUV body with the bed on the back, basically.
So what I'm picturing is literally like a station wagon. I'm picturing a station wagon right now.
Okay,
how close am I?
I mean, it's a truck, so not really, but I guess if you want to, I loved it. It wasn't like a full size pickup, but dude, like it did all the things a truck could do and had like it was really comfy inside, lots of space. So like having that during during
so
school,
it was like a shaggin' wagon, huh?
No,
so you see all kinds of ladies in there? No,
no, definitely not.
Dudes?
Lots of dudes. Not that way. Not that way.
You heard it here first, folks. Hey, it's Pride Month, and Garrett is just gonna go ahead and say it out loud. So good for you, buddy. I don't know. Is it Pride Month? I really don't know that or not.
No, it was a perfect for like doing trips and stuff up north. I had it when I lived in Wisconsin, so we'd go up north, had 4-wheel drive in it, good for the snow, good for going on paths and stuff like that. So it was a great vehicle. It was awesome. Destroyed gas like nothing else. And like a year after I got it, the exhaust rusted through right before, because of salt on the roads, up north with all the snow and the ice and everything, right before the muffler, it like rusted through. So you would hit the gas, absolutely no silencing happening on this exhaust. It was straight pipes right out of the engine, just like it was great. Eventually I had a friend weld it, some plates over it and get it all patched up and fixed up. But oh man, like it was a lot of fun. I would like bomb around school with it and everyone was like, oh, Garrett's back from work or whatever, and I come up because he had to go up the hill and he just gun it, just like roaring up the hill. That was a fun truck. I kind of miss it, not gonna lie. All right, this next question comes from CJM. They ask, who was one A-list movie star that could lead a game based on one of their movies? For example, Tom Cruise in Top Gun or Daniel Craig in James Bond. And they put a stipulation on there. It can't be someone who has already been in a game previously, which not a lot of actors have, honestly, so it doesn't tighten us down too much. But what's a movie like made into a game that would have, you think the actor would carry over well into like voice acting and such?
Okay. This is probably going to sound kind of funny. That's actually a great question. I'm picturing Ben Stiller in Night at the Museum. Okay. So I think that could be so much fun, that there's so much to that, and there's so many different places you can go in the museum, in that, you're trying to keep these, exhibits from escaping the museum, and you can go to the Wild West stuff, or like with the little miniatures or the Egyptian stuff. I think there's a lot to it. There's so many different movies that several of those different tropes could be used in a very big game. So I think that would be a lot of fun.
Man, I was really stumped on this one for a while. I was trying to figure it out. The only thing I could come up with is the new wow, why am I blanking? Oh, the new Jurassic Park movie is coming out here in a few weeks, or I think it's coming. It's this week, right? This week or next week. But it got me thinking. It'd be really cool to get like a game of the original one with those original like voice actors and stuff like that in it. Like I don't know. I know there was Jurassic Park game.
There was a Jurassic Park game recently that had.
Oh, really?
Jeff Goldblum's voice in it, I thought, or maybe he was just in the commercial.
Okay, because I know, like back on like what was it, like Super Nintendo or Sega, like one of those. There was a Jurassic Park game. I feel like wasn't there, but it like obviously they didn't have voice acting and stuff like that in it. But I was like, oh man, imagine like Unreal Engine 5 graphics, like Jurassic Park with, and maybe not exactly, spot for the movie or whatever, but they had to figure out ways to add a little more action into there. But I think it'd be fun, like bring back all the voice actors, have them act in it and stuff like that. That's the only thing I can come up with. I think would be kind of fun because the old Jurassic Park games were fun, but I don't think they ever featured the actual actors, which they're all Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern, all freaking amazing. This next question, last question here, comes from Ka Jr. And now this question, I had to ask him to define what he meant by this, and hopefully this is helpful to you. He asked, I won't say stole, he was inspired by Eddie Martin in this question. What's your Mount Rushmore of video game aesthetics? And I asked him in Discord, I said, define aesthetics. What do you mean by that? What the heck does that mean? And he came back with vibes, which I don't know if you know what vibes are, JJ. I know you're old and you don't understand all the lingo, but no, I'm just kidding.
No, do tell. Do tell.
Vibes, architecture, design, and characters. So basically what I'm getting from that is like, well, architecture and design, I feel like that's almost could just be broke down to like setting. So vibes, so the feeling you get from the game, the setting of the game, or the characters in the game. So what is your video game, Mount Rushmore video game aesthetics? Do you have anything off the top of your head here?
Yeah, right off the top of my head is like the Wild West, man. Like I love that aesthetic a lot. So give me like a, an outlaw, robbing a bank type of aesthetic, and dusty saloons and whatnot, and bar fights. That's my thing right there. And
nice.
Yeah, I would say I love that stuff. I also huge fan of anything with zombies. So put me on the map for zombie stuff.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I'm having a hard time coming up with like Mount Rushmore. We're looking for 4 of them here.
Well, we can come up with 4 altogether, right? Like if I come up with 2, you come up with 2.
We can do that. Well, the thing is, so I also have...
Because without Adrian here, we have a hard time thinking. We don't have the brain capacity.
Not at all.
Honestly, please, Adrian, come back. Please, just please.
I'm also a huge fan of the post-apocalyptic, but I think it's a little different from zombies, though. I enjoy zombies, but I really enjoy just anything post-apocalyptic, like...
Go ahead and say it. Go ahead, dude.
No,
go ahead.
Well,
we all know
on.
you're thinking it.
I'm wondering if this is a spoiler or not. The game came out like, 3-4 years ago now. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
Post-apocalyptic.
Yes.
You don't know that necessarily going into it,
right.
But there you go.
I didn't until now. Good job, Garrett. Thanks.
Or like one of my all-time favorite series is the Fallout series, like Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4. I love like that kind of genre of post-apocalyptic. So not necessarily zombies, but just like, hey, something horrendous has happened and here's humans trying to figure it out. And especially Fallout. Like I think that's one of my, honestly, top franchises of all time. Like I love just the humor in that game and stuff too. The characters are always crazy. But so post-apocalyptic, and then I really do like, I'm trying to think of some other games. I like the cyberpunk aesthetic as well. Even though I feel like Cyberpunk 2077 wasn't designed well or implemented well, what they designed and built in that world is spot on with like the type of stuff I like. Like I so badly want like that game to be good, and maybe one day I'll go back and try it. Now there's been so many updates, who knows, maybe it's a halfway decent game. But yeah, that's right up my alley, which you could almost kind of say goes hand in hand with the post-apocalyptic thing, even though technically an apocalypse didn't happen. The world's still in a pretty bad place in cyberpunk generally. You know, you look at or even like Blade Runner and stuff like that. Like I really like that aesthetic. So yeah, post-apocalyptic, cyberpunk. Trying to think what else are my games. I guess
I was gonna say, you're not gonna say Death Stranding. You're not gonna say like Hideo Kojima.
Are you just trying to my favorite aesthetic is Strand games. I love Strand games.
Yeah,
there's only one Strand game in all existence. No, I mean I did think of Death Stranding, but I was trying to figure out I was trying to figure out the aesthetic to it. Like what is the aesthetic to it that I like? And I think what I like about it, and I have found in some other games, is the when games build moments around like a part of the soundtrack or the music, and I'm sure it's in a lot of cases it's intentional. Sometimes I just think, especially Kojima, just accidentally stumbles upon it and gets lucky. Like there's no way he's actually that good all the time, right? But maybe he is. Yeah, there's just those moments, and there's other games too where or even like movies you watch where like, yeah, the soundtrack, and obviously movies that is the other way around, where the music is built around the scene to make it feel that way. But in games, sometimes, especially in Death Stranding, like you're just walking through the world, you're in full control of the character. So they can't, there's only so much they can do to control the environment. And man, like, yeah, Death Stranding, walk through that world, and when Low Roar, that's the name of the band that he uses a lot in that game, when their music kicks in, it's like, oh my gosh, like it's so inspiring. And then the next time they use the song, it's like, oh my gosh, so you just feel the dread in that moment, or the fear, or the unnervingness of it. Or sometimes you're just walking through a meadow and it's just so calming and relaxing. You're like, oh man, like this is beautiful and serene here. Like, I don't know. So I don't know if that's an aesthetic at all, but just chill. I love chill games as well. So games that just like, wow, I can just sit back, relax, and just, yeah, have the music just kind of take me where it wants to. Like, I don't know. I've always been huge into music. I love music. I love playing instruments. So it's always been a huge part of my life. So in games as well, that's like a huge thing for me. If I don't like the soundtrack, the music, a lot of times like the game just doesn't vibe. Like I won't touch the game. I'm like, oh, no, I don't like the music. Not there. But I don't know. Do you feel that way like with music, or are you kind of just like, no, it's whatever. Like I like it when I like it, but I don't like it. It's whatever.
No, I'm 100% with you. Like anytime that music is able to draw you in to a scene and help expound upon that feeling that you're supposed to be feeling, it's awesome. There's so many awesome moments with music that combine what you're seeing visually on the screen in games like God of War. God of War, sometimes the music just kind of builds up into something you're seeing on the screen at that one time.
Yeah.
And that music just, man, they just did such a great job. Some of the music is done so well in some of those games. Sometimes Red Dead Redemption 2, just merely being on your horse and like going through one scene to the next, and like the music is playing, and like you're feeling all these twangs, and like, they're playing like this country western, little ballads and stuff underneath, and it's just muted just enough that it's kind of, you're feeling it as you're going through, and you're riding this horse and you're in control and you're in the middle of nowhere, and it's like, man, that music helps resound those feelings inside of you.
Yeah. So maybe I worded that wrong. I said that chill aesthetic, but what I actually, now that I think about it, like that's not it at all. It's like an emotional, like I love the emotionally charged, those emotionally charged games. That's what it is. I don't know, like where, and especially with that use of music, like, yeah, when games are, it's not just something, because even like the Uncharted games, as much as I love those, I didn't always feel emotionally attached to things. And I think it's because of that. Even though there's a good soundtrack in the game, like it's the songs in there and the music there is fun to listen to. For me, it was never never gave me an emotional feedback. Where
and also,
like when you mentioned
the same thing that never happened with Last of Us, the original, but Last of Us 2 completely used music with a lot of the scenes that they were cultivating to create those moments for you. Like they really used music very well in Last of Us 2.
I beg to differ. Even the first one, when I replayed the first Last of Us game, for right before the second one came out, remember? Because I was like, oh, I'm going to play the first one, the second one, and then I chickened out on the second one because it's too much for me. There was many moments in that game where like I was literally like brought to tears because that game, like all of a sudden it just fades to black and you just hear the guitar still picking, because that's how they would like end a chapters. Like all of a sudden it would just like jump cut to black or like fade to black, and like but the music you'd still hear like the rustling of the leaves and like the do 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 do, like the Spanish like kind of guitar in the background. Like, oh my gosh, like oh, that dialogue was just, that was too much. Like the argument, that fight, that whatever it is, that the tension. So I mean that game has always killed it with music. Last of Us is incredible for that. But so there you go. You got a Mount Rushmore of 5 between the two of us. So I don't know. Do you have anything else that kind of that?
No, just games? Nothing that can add on top of that.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, now it is time for the news.
It's now time for the nerdy news.
All righty. This first news story is from Gabe Gerwin over at GameSpot. And they write, PlayStation State of Play, June 2022, biggest announcements in games. That's exactly what it is. This is just a summary of the State of Play. I'll give you the quick summary, but I think we all know what we're going to talk about here. There's kind of two main things that we're going to talk about here. So,
two main games, you mean?
Two main games, exactly. So let me go give the quick rundown of everything. And then actually Adrian texted me his thoughts. I will read his thoughts and then we can discuss. Starts off with a trailer from totally out of nowhere, total surprise, absolutely incredible trailer for Resident Evil 4 Remake. So we got the Resident Evil 2 Remake, 3 Remake. Now we're getting the 4. Man, for someone who's only played, I've never 100% completed 4. I mean, I've told you that guys on the show before. I've played the first little bit. For me, it was just like it was hard to control, and I don't know. I had a million other excuses, but I was just kind of like I don't know. I tried to play on PS4 a couple years ago. I'm like, I don't know, like not right now. I just wasn't feeling it. When I saw this, I'm like, yes. Like I will 100% play it with updated graphics and updated controls. Like I cannot freaking wait for Resident Evil 4. Sorry, I said we weren't going to give our thoughts yet. Resident Evil 4 Remake. We got Horizon Call of the Mountain, which is a PSVR game coming out for PSVR 2 soon. We got the announcement that Spider-Man is coming to PC. We got I don't know if this was our first trailer or maybe a second trailer of the Callisto protocol, made by ex-Dead Space devs and co-creator Glenn Schofield. Street Fighter.
Let's go!
Yeah,
This looked amazing.
That looked amazing.
Like, wow.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that. Street Fighter 6 was announced. Roller Dome was announced, made by the same people who made Ollie Ollie. Final Fantasy 16 got a pretty chunky gameplay trailer. And then a bunch of other PSVR games that were announced that are, coming out for kind of getting people hyped for PSVR 2. Mm-hmm. Now, I wanted to bring up Adrian's thoughts. He did send me a big chunk here. So here he says, my State of Play impressions. Resident Evil 4, baby, nothing more to say. The Callisto protocol looks terrifying. We should make JJ stream it. Final Fantasy 16 looks insane. The summon battles are super interesting. It's gorgeous, and that trailer theme song was epic. Stray would have most likely done well on its own, but it was a great move adding it to PS Plus. That's the kind of futuristic game where you control a cat. We heard about it like a couple years ago, and then it's been crickets, and then it just came back with a date, and then they also said, hey, if you have PS Plus, it's free for you, which great move. That's awesome.
Which it actually looks really fun. I was actually surprised by that.
Yeah. Resident Evil 8 and Horizon are looking great on PSVR too, but I need to see more titles. Season, which is an indie game that Adrian's been stoked for a long time. Unfortunately, a PlayStation 5 exclusive. Season continues to look phenomenal. I love the new trailer, gave some insight into the story. Still a front runner in my upcoming titles to look forward to. And then Street Fighter 6 seems to be coming along well. Not too sure about the open world, but the fights look really good, like a mix of Street Fighter 4 and 5. And then he also he's on the campaign trail to get a PS5 crowdfunded for him. So here's the gist. We were having a discussion. He's like, I vowed to never buy another PlayStation, but I never said I wouldn't. I wouldn't accept one as a gift.
Graciously accept one.
so here's the deal. Adrian wants to play some of these PS5 exclusive games. If you have the feeling it deep down in your heart, reach out to him. He's looking for a PS5 from a generous donor because, again, on principle, he doesn't want to buy one, but he also really badly wants to play the games. I'm like, I don't know if that's how it works. I was like, clever loophole, Adrian, but you're still supporting him by getting a PlayStation, right? Oh, man. Yeah, so that's it for his thoughts. JJ, yeah, I want to hear some of your thoughts on these things. So, yeah, Resident Evil 4, Callisto Protocol. What do you think? What did you think?
So, lots to unpack, dude. So, State of the Play, I watched it actually earlier on today, just kind of caught up on everything that was happening. I know I'm a couple days behind. But first out the gate, VR2 looks pretty good. One of the things, they're bringing back Village, and they've given it the full VR2 treatment, which that game is terrifying. It's absolutely gorgeous. I think anybody who's really into VR is going to really enjoy some of the games that they're offering up in this. The Horizon Zero Dawn Call to the Mountain or whatever it was, that looked really, really good too.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, not a fan of VR myself. I've had some issues with being very dizzy and feeling like crap after playing it. So I don't think I'm ever going to be picking this up. I'd love to play it at a friend's house and check it out for a little bit, but it's not worth the investment for me. But some of those games really do look like they're fun. And I mean, you remember playing Resident Evil 7 in VR was absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
5 years ago.
When I saw that they were bringing Village to VR, I'm like, 7 was absolutely terrifying. 8 would just, I don't know if I could handle it. And especially the freaking dollhouse. If I had to do that dollhouse in VR, I was already peeing my pants on stream. It's on the highlights. If you go to our Twitch channel, you can go down to the highlights and watch me like have a panic attack at the stupid baby thing, whatever, this crazy creature, the dollhouse. If I had to do that again in VR, I'd probably just have I'd just die. I'd drop dead. I don't know if my body could handle it.
So I don't know if I ever told you, but I actually had one of those baby dreams after playing Village.
Really?
And that was a terrifying thing. And I did have a little bad dream about it at one point. And I thought, am I done playing horror games?
Is this it?
No,
Is this how it all ends?
I got to keep going. I got,
all right, okay.
In it to win it.
I just happened to look over at the chat and look at this. Homeboy is here, the cheater pumpkin eater.
Okay.
He says the rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. And then he also says we got a couple of grade A chickens here. He's calling us chickens.
Really?
But he's the one who won't even touch a horror game with a 10-foot pole.
He doesn't play horror for that reason.
I don't know.
That's a little trash talking, buddy.
That's the only trash talking we've done this whole episode of Adrian. We haven't done any other trash talking this episode.
Not at all. I wouldn't go back and look at any of the previous moments of this show. But man, we miss you, buddy. I really want you to come back. So I've been defending you the entire time. I just want you to know. So speaking of other things that we talked about in the State of Play, Adrian had some great feedback on that and some always good takes. I wish that he was here in person so we could be razzing him right here in person. But as far as my feelings, there were two games. There were really two games that stood out and that were the things that I'm like, oh man, I'm hyped. And you heard the reaction from me a little while ago. the Calypso, was it Project?
Callisto Protocol.
Or Protocol. Oh my gosh, man. This game looked insane. This game was insane. Now, I'm not going to blow what you said about it, because you said some stuff about it. You have thoughts. But I love this type of game. And it looked terrifying, dude. Like, super terrifying. And for me, that's like, oh, I got to play that in the dark. And
oh yeah,
and I'm gonna be playing that game. And I think we got a release date on that one, December of this year, is what they're tentatively saying, of the Calypso Protocol. And then the other game that is the big one was Resident Evil 4 Remake. And this game looked fantastic as well. Really updated, and it looks like that's going to be out March of 2023.
Yeah, it's coming next year. I think you got that. Yeah, March 23rd. And right now it says the game is scheduled to launch on March 23rd, 2023 for PS5. Like at least initially, no other details come out. I would imagine it's coming out for everything because all the other ones have, but that is interesting that they only mentioned PS5 in this trailer, at least on the state of play. Capcom might have released a trailer separately on their channel that had other things, but on PlayStation, they only talked about the PlayStation.
I don't recall, but was Village out on other things immediately, or wasn't it like a time?
No, it was everything.
Oh, okay.
Thing as far as I remember.
My mistake. I thought it was. I could have swore it was a timed release where it came out on PlayStation first, and then later was opened up to Xbox and PC.
No, I don't think so. I know Capcom's always had kind of a more special relationship with PlayStation. I mean, that's where Resident Evil started. And then especially because they're doing... So that's the other thing is not only are they doing Resident Evil 4 Remake, but they also announced that it's going to be Resident Evil 4 Remake in VR as well. And they're doing, like you mentioned, Village and something else they're bringing to VR. So they're bringing all sorts of things to VR, all sorts of Resident Evil for you. So all the spooks that you want in first person, come and get it. But no, Callisto Protocol looks absolutely bonkers crazy. I am so excited for that. And I was telling you before the show, I watched it and I just hadn't heard anything about this in a long time. I hadn't watched anything about it because we got a trailer. I think it was like a little teaser like a while back. So it kind of like left my mind and forgot about it. But after watching the trailer at the State of Play, I'm like, oh man, it just feels familiar. Like there's something about it. And then like 10 minutes later, I'm like, oh, duh. Like it's being developed by like a lot of the ex-Visceral people, or like the people who worked on the original Dead Space game. So if it feels like Dead Space, it's because it's made by all the people who made the original Dead Space. So I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. I totally forgot. Like, it just left my mind. And when it came back, I'm like, that makes so much sense. But it also gets me so much more hyped. Because, I mean, Dead Space is an incredible game. Like, I would say almost 10 out of 10 game that you have to play. And I know initially when we heard about Callisto Protocol, we were worried, like, okay, shoot, like, is this going to be an issue? Like, are they going to be able to handle bringing this top-notch type of game to, trying to make another Dead Space? Is this possible? And after seeing this trailer, it seems like they're on the right track. That's for sure. It's still to be seen, but boy, it feels and looks real good. Yeah. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, as far as the Resident Evil 4, just to touch back on that, they showed us a lot, like a substantial amount, like much more than you would think. It wasn't just a quick trailer. It was a trailer, and there was a little bit of gameplay involved, and then kind of a little more story arc to the trailer. So I was really happy with the extended look at it. So I mean, they really gave us a lot with it.
Yeah, no, super stoked. I thought this was a fantastic State of Play. We haven't, like, I feel like in the past State of Plays have been fine. But honestly, this one, like the whole time, like, this looks awesome. This looks great. This looks awesome. This looks great. Oh, I'm excited for that. Like this State of Play has such good pacing and such good announcements. Even if like the PSVR stuff, who knows? I might not ever touch it because I might not ever get a PSVR 2, but I don't know. There's something about this state of play. I'm like, oh, this was a banger. Like, this is really good. I was really surprised. So kudos to PlayStation for kind of upping their game and bringing us some cool announcements in a fun way. I think that's all the kind of the main thoughts I have for state of play. Was there anything else you want to talk about? Any of the games or?
No, I don't think anything else really stood out. I mean, the VR stuff was cool. The two big ones, obviously, with Callisto Protocol and Resident Evil 4, that just looked really, really great. I think, honestly, end of the day, this was the best state of play we've gotten in a very long time.
Yeah, Adrian here in the chat actually says it could wind up being even better than Dead Space, talking about Callisto Protocol. And he even says this is the first actual state of play. Like, to him, he almost feels like it's like they actually did it this time. So very good. The last thing I just want to leave on, I'm just going to say this and we'll move on, is all the PlayStation fanboys need to chill out over Spider-Man going to PC. Like... There's already like 5 other PlayStation exclusives that have gone to PC. Like, just let it go. What's one more? Who cares? Like, the more people who play these games, the better, right? Like, it's just funding. All the PC players are just funding more PlayStation games. So chill out. I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of
essentially it's getting a remaster. It got a remaster to go to PC, right?
That was the whole deal. It was already remastered for PS5. And so now it's just getting ported, they call it, ported over to PC. So it's not getting any extra features. They're just taking it from PS5 over to... And they didn't... Well, so they didn't announce it on the State of Play, but later Insomniac announced it that also Miles Morales will be coming as well. So Spider-Man Remastered is on August, and then Miles Morales coming a little bit after that. So, but yeah... people who are pissed off on the internet, like, oh, they're stealing all of our games, blah blah blah. It's like, chill out. Like, games are meant to be played, and it's awesome. So good on you.
And I'm sure I'm not the only one who had this issue, but when they were showing that, I actually thought it was like, oh, we're getting some more footage of the new Spider-Man. So I mean, that says a lot that it looks so great in that port. So
yeah. All right, this next news story. AEW wrestler Samoa Joe will play Sweet Tooth in the Twisted Metal TV show. This is from Chris Scullion over at VGC. We talked about the TV shows last week. We even talked about Twisted Metal. We're like, what in the world are they going to do with this? How is this going to work? And it was interesting. Now, just this last week, some info was announced. So actually, earlier in the week, it was announced that Sweet Tooth was going to be voiced by Will Arnett, but it's going to be portrayed physically in person by Samoa Joe, or Joe Sinoa, I think is his actual real name there. Deadline now reports that the former WWE US champion and TNA World Heavyweight champion will play the character, with Will Arnett providing his voice. Sweet Tooth's smiling clown face is the most iconic image in the Twisted Metal series, featuring on the cover of all 10 titles in the series to date. There's not much more to, like, we didn't get any more information about the show or anything like that, but
I think it's apropos that they chose this guy because, first of all, he was the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. He was the NXT Champion, the WWE United States Champion, the Ring of Honor World Champion. Now he's an AEW superstar. And the thing about Samoa Joe is everybody always chants when he's out there, Joe's gonna kill you. The crowd, literally 15,000, 20,000 people will chant that stuff. Jeez. The guy is a monster in the ring, and he's got an ample back, just a giant back, and I think it's big enough to carry the franchise of the Twisted Metal. So we knew that Twisted Metal was going to eventually get some type of a series. That was something that we talked about like 2 years ago, I think it was. Huh. A little side note, I actually got to work one show with Samoa Joe at the height of his powers when he was wrestling for TNA, now known as Impact Wrestling. And very big dude, very large guy, very, very sweet guy. Like one of the nicest people that I've ever met.
That's awesome.
And he was a big star when he came and did the show. And it was like, he did not act like a big star. He acted like a normal dude. Very good dude.
Isn't
couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Isn't that the best when people are just like super down to earth and chill and not like, you know, they don't have a stick stuck up their butt or whatever. Yeah, that's That's really cool. I'm, if anything, just really interested. Like, as they start announcing casting and stuff like that for these shows, I'm like, okay, like, show me something. Like, I'm really curious where in the world you're going to go with this. Like, how is this going to work? How are you going to get a TV series out of this? I don't see it still, but you know what? They got the right person. They got the right person, you know, who playing Sweet Tooth, especially once he gets a mask on. And then, honestly, Will Arnett with a voice. I'm like, okay, I can see that. Like, I wonder if they're going to let Will Arnett do his Will Arnett thing, like where he kind of gets goofy, or if they're going to try to keep him a little more straight. But that'll be interesting.
He's going to get goofy. He's going to get goofy. That's what Arnett does.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I mean, he can't help it. I feel like anything he does, he has to. But yeah, it'll be interesting. But I just wanted a little follow up to last week's news story. Like, okay, we got these things announced. Here we go. Here's some castings apparently. So crazy stuff. This last news story is from IGN, written by Joe Screbbles. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet get a November release date. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet will release on November 18th, as revealed in a new trailer. The game will feature a new open-world structure and 4-player co-op for the first time. The trailer shows off a lot of the new mainline Pokemon games world and introduces 2 new legendary monsters, Koraidon, who appears in Scarlet, and Miraidon in Violet. These 2 Pokemon are said to have powers that far surpass those of other Pokemon, reads a description on the Pokemon website, but details about Koraidon and Miraidon are shrouded in mystery. We've already gotten a look at the game starters, Sprigatito and Fuecoco and Quaxley. But this trailer reveals a number of new regular monsters too, including a teary-eyed truffle pig called Lechonk. Imagine a pig that's just like as round as a basketball with a little pig nose and these little sad eyes, like a tear dripping out of it, like super sad crying, named Lechonk. Like, it's the cutest thing you've ever seen. Honestly, when they showed it in the trailer, I was just like, I'm gonna have an entire party of just Lechonk. Like, I think I wrote that in Discord. I'm like, I'm just gonna have 6 Lechonks in my party. That's gonna be I'm gonna try to beat the game like that because it's a pretty cute, pretty dang cute Pokemon. We also saw a new grass-type Pokemon based off an olive called Smoliv. It looks like an olive, and his name is Smoliv. And Palmy, a new electric mouse Pokemon. So
are they just scraping the bottom of the barrel for names on those things now?
I mean,
yeah, the answer is yes. Yes.
There was definitely a shift in Pokemon where it went from being like, so a lot of the original Pokemon were based off of real animals, but yeah, the names they were given and stuff like that were more animal like. I don't know when the switch happened. It's probably one of the games that I didn't play on like the DS or 3DS, but there's this weird switch where Pokemon went from being animals to being objects in food, like Smoliv or Garbodor, which is literally a trash bag full of garbage, like stuff like that. It's still hard for me to kind of wrap my brain around because I wasn't there for the change, so it doesn't make sense to me, but it's a thing. So go check out that trailer though if you're interested more about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. It was really fun to watch. I know JJ, you don't care a lick about this, so I'm just gonna
I can't even, like, I would just keep going because I feel like a jerk. I would just
just bash on it. Go check it out because the Pokemon are cute, the world looks incredible, and freaking 4-player co-op, and we got to see the new professors. There's 2 of them this time around, and they both look actually really cool, not gonna lie. They definitely look like people I would want to be friends with.
Allergies.
So thank you for that, JJ. All right, that is it for the news, unless you really want to chime in on Pokemon. Do you have anything for us? Anything? What's your favorite Pokemon?
I really enjoyed Detective Pikachu movie. Okay. That was a very fun movie with Ryan Reynolds. I really did. I didn't think I was going to, but I took my son to it, and we had a great time.
Okay, Yogurt Archangel in the chat makes a good point. He says, what about Generation 1? There's a magnet Pokemon. That's literally just a magnet. There's a pile of grime named Grimer. There's one literally a Pokeball. Okay, you know what?
Yeah, I guess it's always been crappy.
It's always been. But there's... Yeah, I guess you're right.
You can't defend
There's a different, I don't know how to explain it. There's a different feeling though to those newer Pokemon. Like in Gen 1, like that made sense for whatever reason to, 8-year-old me. Where now adult me looking at a bag of trash that's a Pokemon, I'm like, what the heck? But no, you're right. It's always been weird, but it's just gotten more weird. That's the thing. It went from like weird to bizarre. That's the change that happened. All right. Well, if you have nothing else to add to the Pokemon discussion, now it is time for our ad. This is a part of the show where I tell you to go to patreon.com/supergamerboys. Support us over there. You can start at just $1 a month. That gets you access to episodes early and ad-free, such as this show, such as Super Gamer Book Club, hosted by Adrian, who, as you all know, is out cheating on us right now. He's in the chat, so I guess he's done. Oh shoot, he is in the chat. Trubbish slander will not be tolerated. He's upset. He's upset that I was talking trash. I was talking trash about his trash Pokemon. So go check us out there and get those episodes early and ad free. And it's great way to support us on the show. Like I said, starting at $1 a month, $5 gets you show notes early. You kind of know what we're going to be talking about ahead of time. Leave your own question, comments, and concerns right on the show notes on the doc. $10 a month, you can be a sponsor. $15 a month, you can be a Patreon producer. That not only is just a cornerstone of continuing our show here, but you also get to pitch segments to us and help us form the show in one way or another. If you have any fun ideas, so you can support us over there and kind of pitch it, and we think it's a good idea, we'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot for sure. So thank you all so much who currently support us. Not that you're listening to this because they listen ad free, but if you do happen to listen on the regular feed, we do appreciate you. If you want to support us in another way, maybe a free way, maybe you're like, hey, I don't have the $1 to spare, but I have Amazon Prime. I don't have $1, but I have $130 to spend on Amazon Prime. With your Amazon Prime, you also have Prime Gaming. And with Prime Gaming, you get a free sub every month, which basically a sub would normally be $5 here on Twitch. Costs you $0. We still get that $5. So throw that our way. If you have Prime Gaming, give us that free sub. We would appreciate it. You have to re-up it each month. It does not go automatically, unfortunately. But if you're listening here now and you're like, hey, I want to support you, I do have Amazon Prime. Make a Twitch account, throw us that sub. We would very much appreciate it. All right, let's get back to the show. All right, JJ, this is that part of the show where I ask you, what you playing?
Okay, I was prepared for this completely. I didn't play any actual games on any actual systems, but I did play Candy Crush quite a bit on my phone. Okay, there was a lot of time sitting around with my phone, and I have completely become addicted the last few weeks to Candy Crush. And I'm getting fairly far in this game. I don't know if you've ever played it before. Yeah. But
like 10 years ago when it came out, I played it. Yeah.
Dude, okay, I'm just getting to this party. And let me tell you, I'm addicted, dude. Like, this game is ridiculous. I find myself finishing a little bit, and then, like, I'm itching. Like, okay, I got to go to sleep right now. But, man, I just kind of want to play a little bit longer. And I'm itching like crazy. Just to, I got to go a little bit more. I'm not spending any extra money because I'm not like my kids, that are like, hey, I need to get like $10.
You're not all up in those microtransactions?
Oh, God, no. I hate that stuff. That stuff kills me. I'm like, no, you don't need to. No, but I need to, Dad.
I need it.
You don't understand. Yeah, you're an idiot. Yeah. No. So I've been playing that, and that's been it for me this week. I just haven't had any time to actually play any regular video games.
Yeah. I am unfortunately in a similar boat. My
here I was feeling horrible, Garrett.
Both my boys got sick. I got sick, and yeah, so it's just been a rough last couple weeks, really. Even last week when we talked about what you're playing, I'd barely played Crisis Core, and that's all I was able to play this week as well. I played 2 or 3 hours on Sunday. More Crisis Core. I'm getting deeper into it. That is the book club game for this month. So if you have a way to play it, go check it out. Whether it's it's on PSP. So if you have a PSP, you can play it. If you have a Vita, you can probably get your hands on it. Or if you have other ways of emulating it, yeah, you that might be a way you might be able to play it as well. Maybe. I am enjoying it. I realized I was playing it wrong at first. So I jumped into it with a real trigger happy button smash kind of mentality. I was like, bam, 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 whack, just beating everything to death with my sword as fast as I could, and just healing myself every once in a while when I needed to. And I was like, I think I'm playing this game wrong, because there was this enemies. I wasn't dying necessarily, but there was very difficult enemies that I felt like shouldn't be that difficult. And I realized it's not necessarily, some enemies you can just spam attack and just destroy them, but it's not necessarily designed to be a button mashing game. There is supposed to be a little more intention and strategy and dodging even. I don't think I've used the block button once in this game. There's a block button, and I haven't used it once until just the other day, right at the tail end of the time I was playing. I'm like, oh, if I hit triangle, he puts a sword up and blocks attacks. Why haven't I done this before? So yeah, I've kind of am slowly figuring out, okay, how to properly play this game, basically. And as far as the story and stuff, I'm enjoying it, but I'm still wondering, and I need to talk to Adrian about this. I have not played the entire story of Final Fantasy VII. I've never played the original one. I've only played Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is technically only, from what I've heard, only the first third of the story. There's still 2/3 of the story that I just do not know. And so Adrian originally said oh no, this won't spoil anything, this won't ruin anything, but I don't know. I've been playing through it, and maybe it's not spoiling or ruining anything, but it's my brain is on overload trying to connect dots, because there's characters who are bad guys in 7 who are my friends and teammates in this game, because it takes place before. It's a prologue kind of thing. And okay, in this game they're not bad, or they're bad but not really bad, or they're not I don't know. There's all these lines I'm having a hard time connecting, and I wonder if it would make more sense if I had the full story of 7, or maybe not. Maybe that's the point. Maybe I'll get to the end of this and it'll be just fine. But that's been my other issue with the game so far. But other than that, it is fun. It's fun to get back in that world, and the cutscenes are incredible. Especially I'm amazed how much data they're able to fit on the little cart
on the PSP.
On the little PSP, yeah. When you're watching a cutscene, and it. Honestly, granted, it's a cutscene, so it's a video. It's a pre-rendered movie, basically, is all it's playing. Mm-hmm. But these pre-rendered cutscene movies that they're playing, I'm like, that looks just as good as what the Final Fantasy VII Remake looked like on my PS4, and it's on my little handheld PSP. And this was a game from 15 years ago or something. So kudos to PlayStation cool. for absolutely killing it in the cutscene, or I guess PlayStation didn't make it. Square Enix are just killing it over there with the animation. But yeah, so that's what I've been playing. Oh man, Adrian's up here in the chat talking crap. Hang on, I thought the show was called Super Gamer Boys. Not much gaming not much gaming going on here. And then yeah, he did comment on the combat. Thank you, Adrian, for confirming that. Yeah, I did not have the combat nailed down very great. But okay, he says he wants me to keep playing it. All right, I'll keep playing it. All right, guys. Well, that's it for the show. Thank you all so much for watching live here at twitch.tv/thesupergamerboys, for watching later at youtube.com/supergamerboys, or for listening on podcast feeds later on all your favorite podcast services, Spotify, Apple, whatever, Google, Overcast, Podcast Addict, literally everything. Anything you can think of, we're there. Search for Super Gamer Boys. You'll find us. If you really love what we do, and you want to support us over here, help us to keep making bigger and better content, more shows, whatever it might be. We would love to be able to do it with your guys' help over at patreon.com/supergamerboys. Remember, you can support us at just $1 a month and up. Get different perks depending on what level you support us at. Very much appreciate it. We're getting close again. We've gotten a couple new Patreon supporters in the last couple weeks. So it's like, all right, are we going to get that $100 mark, that $100 goal, just so we can do that new show? Hopefully soon. You can also support us over at sgbstore.com, where you can buy some sweet merch. We got t-shirts, we got stickers, we got mugs. Go check it out. We got some fun stuff over there. Shout out again to Jack Sriracha and Yate for allowing us to use their music on our show. We appreciate you so much. And please go give them a listen. I have links to Spotify. There's Spotify links in the show description below, or find them on Apple Music as well. And Bandcamp, I think you can buy their albums as well. So just go look for Yate, look for Jack Sriracha. Incredible stuff. Find us during the week at supergamerboys.com, Twitter and Instagram at supergamerboys. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at gmorlang. JJ, where can they find you at?
You guys can always find me over at Twitter and Instagram at JJ Purdom. And of course, you can always go and check out my other podcast produced by the Super Gamer Boys. It's called the Suplex City Wrestling Podcast. Go and give me a follow on at Suplex City Pod. We talk each and every week about wrestling news and notes. And of course, this week we'll be talking about the 4 greatest tag teams of all time. That's this week's episode.
Yeah. And one last thing, actually, I just want to say that this Thursday is Summer Game Fest by Jeff Keighley. And it is, I believe, at 11 Pacific time. Me and Adrian will be live reacting to it. So come back here, twitch.tv/thesupergamerboys, where you can watch us live reacting to the live stream with some big gaming news and announcements. Remember, this is kind of what's replacing E3. Jeff Keighley started it. It's been going since COVID, I think, so it's 2020. So last 2 years, this will be the 3rd year. And now that E3 is not happening, a lot of big announcements could be happening here at Summer Game Fest. So join us Thursday morning at 11. We're going to live stream our reactions to that, watch it together. So if you want to watch it, you can watch it with us. It'd be a blast. So twitch.tv/thesupergamerboys, Thursday at 11 Pacific time. All right. That's all I got, JJ. Take us away.
Okay. Well, what a fun episode, bringing back the classic of Garrett and I working together this week. Sans Adrian. Adrian, we miss you. Can't wait to see you back here next week, where you can add value, humor, and intelligence to this otherwise completely unfunny, unintelligent show that we do each and every week about video games. For Gucci, Garrett Morlang, and myself, Juicy JJ Purdom, we are the Not Much Happening Gaming Boys. No, wait. No.
Nah.
We are the Super Gamer Boys.
We will catch you on the flippity flop. Adrian sucks. Oh wait, are we allowed?
He does,
say
dude.
That
Sucks.
Are we allowed to say that? You guys always say it about me,
no,
so yeah, we can say it about Adrian.
He's not here to say it. So
#Adrian sucks.